Ladies and gentlemen, many of you might have heard by now that Ukraine has lost Mariupol. And this is just more proof how mainstream news in America lie so much. They have been saying from the beginning of this war that Ukraine was winning. Ukraine was winning. And these idiots all over YouTube have been repeating it too. Oh, they're winning. Oh, they're winning. And I was like, I don't think we're getting real news because America is like, their news is very, it reminds me of high school. You know, you talk good about your friends that you like, and the ones you don't like, you just talk bad about them all the time. That's American news. That's news here in America. I don't think these folks were winning like they were saying on the news all along. And there were too many indicators showing that they were not winning. First of all, every time you see their president, he's begging for aid. He's begging for more military aid. He's begging for how are you winning in one instance and then always begging in another? Something just didn't add up. At least to me, it did. And then the pouring of all the funds and the military aid, that was also another indicator. If somebody is doing that well in war, would you have to do all of that? And then you're doing this for a country that's not even part of NATO. So there were a lot of indicators that America was lying. And now you can see all of the news you are getting on Ukraine and this war are all straight up lies. Even when they are losing, they are telling you in America that they're winning. So Mariupol has fallen into Russian hands. They are now in full control of this place. All right. So the Ukrainian city of Mariupol is now in Russian hands after more than 2 months of bitter fighting and constant Russian shelling that destroyed massive swaths of the city and killed thousands of civilians, according to local officials. Ukraine formally declared an end to its combat mission in Mariupol last Monday. Evacuation of Ukrainian soldiers and Ukrainians' last military holdout began earlier. So they began pulling out. I think at that point, they just realized they could not hang on to this city at all. So the Russian Defense Ministry says more than 1,700 Ukrainian fighters have surrendered since then, including dozens of wounded soldiers being treated at hospitals. And so now Russia is in full control. The International Committee of the Red Cross said it has registered hundreds of Ukrainian soldiers as prisoners of war. It is unclear how many Ukrainian soldiers remain in Mariupol. Evacuation mission continues. It is overseen by our military and intelligence. The most influential international mediators are involved, said the Ukrainian President Zelensky on Wednesday. Ukrainian officials said this week that they expect the evacuated soldiers to eventually be exchanged in prisoner of war swaps, but some Russian politicians have protested an idea and calling the Mariupol defenders of Nazi criminals. This is what is being said out of Russia. The fight for Mariupol had been a source of morale for Ukrainians. They claim a David and Goliath battle, which it was not. It was not that, especially if they lost. Okay, David did win. He didn't lose. So it's not David and Goliath. But they got to over dramatize everything. This is how they are. All right. So, for months, the Ukrainians celebrated the small number of soldiers who managed to keep the city from falling into Russian hands. See, I never believed them, you know, and it's a lot of propaganda. And you got to understand this is what Western nations do. They will shell out the propaganda in a minute. Look, they do it to us. Let one of us get killed by the police. They turn on that propaganda machine so fast, it's not even funny. And they make sure they prop up that slave catcher that did it. I mean, they do that to us. You don't even have to go outside of the country to see the effects of their propaganda. So, Mariupol is located between Crimea, and we know Russia got complete control over Crimea, which Russia annexed from Ukraine in 2014, and the region of the eastern Ukraine called Donbass, which was already controlled by Russians. Okay, so most of the current fighting taking place is in Donbass region. So Vladimir Putin recognized the independence of two enclaves there prior to the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Those are two areas, so-called, where it's the People Republic and it's facing Russia aggression. So Mariupol right now has been taken. By controlling Mariupol, Russia has solidified its land bridge to Crimea and now controls the entire north shore of the Sea of Azov. All right. So, everybody, you're going to have to tell me what you think, but I think this is a clear indicator. If you want some good news on this war, you need to look at the foreign sources because you're getting more realistic news from them. America is on the side of Ukraine, and therefore they don't have the ability to give you news that's not full of bias. That's the problem. The news is filled with bias, and they don't know how to give you news any other way. They really don't. So, if you want the truth, look towards the foreign sources. If you like hearing that they are winning, they are winning, they are winning all the time, then I guess you just keep listening to American news. And then you'll turn around and see stories like this, where a big area, an important area over there, has fallen. I guess that's up to you. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.